Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We start with Major League Baseball. You know, minute to minute, it's like the trading deadline with this lockout. The John Hymans of the world, the Nightingales, the Buster Olneys, what we've heard in the last few hours, that they're close, that there's a few more issues. One being that you guys are smarter than I am, the international draft. The Major League players do not want that, and the owners do. I don't understand that. Russ, lead me to the promised land.
Professor for this one.
Well, I think just generally speaking, players' unions aren't in favor of drafts, so whenever there's any sort of flexibility on whether there's a draft or not, they prefer there not to be. So I think it's just a philosophical thing. They'd rather have these guys be free agents. They get paid more.
Joe, doesn't seem like that should be a stumbling block to a new CBA. Oh, Joe, we can't hear you. Oh, I don't know. Ian, do you have what do we got? Let's try Joe. Let's see. Maybe turn it up, Joe. We heard him before, right?
Yeah, we heard him before.
All right, Timmy, what do you think? Why should this be a stumbling block? I mean,
well, that should not be a stumbling block. I mean, that's holding up a lot of stuff for a pretty minute issue. I mean, but as Russell said, they want more control, but I don't see all these players banding together just to protect some young international players, really, and holding up the show.
They're not going to hold up a multi-billion-dollar business for whether the international. If they solve all that threshold stuff, they'll go back into.
Yeah, that's probably just it's like when the police unions, they might want to get something for it if they're going to. It's just another bargaining chip, to hold things up. Joe, you want to give it a try?
Joe, you back? Still can't hear you, Joe.
Still muted, Joe.
Still muted, Joe. I don't know.
Mute button, maybe.
Because it was working before, Joe. Because, we need our uncle.
Hey. There you go.
What's that? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I haven't changed. I don't know what's going on.
You're back.
Oh, there we go. Uncle Joe.
Don't touch that.
Is better now with Uncle Joe. With Margarine and Uncle Joe. Guy Joe, look. Now I'm back to mute again.
You're muted again, Joe.
Wow.
Tap that microphone or something.
Uncle Joe has some technical difficulties tonight.
All right. Look, the problem with this, and I think all of us are pro players right now, is that if this is the stumbling block, if Major League Baseball sends the message out, we've done everything we could, and it's the players now, public perception could change instantly, right?
Yeah. If this is seen, if the international draft is seen as holding up everything, I wouldn't want to be the players at that point. The tide will turn.
The only thing I'm hoping for on this whole thing is that they just cancel April right off the schedule at Fenway.
I know. You've got me convinced too. I'm totally thinking that, Timmy. Yeah, I mean, obviously, April.
I can't give those tickets away in April.
No, it's pretty miserable. So, yeah, I just want to clarify. I was actually wrong. So right now, 6 games have been canceled. The Tampa series, 3 games, and the
Good, right? We want that.
Yeah, I think Scotty. I think their point is, if they settle today, they can cram those games in so they can still play 162 games scheduled, but not the original 162 games.
That's right.
Played out at the beginning. Yeah.
From what I heard, they would start the season April 6th or April 7th. They could start, if they started April 6th, it would be the Wednesday at Fenway, and that could be your opening day.
You know what's crazy, though, Scotty? Just those 6 or 7 games, these guys don't have many days off during the season. It's kind of pile them up on double headers or something, I would guess. I don't know. But they value their days off during the season. I mean, I would, if I were them, I wouldn't be happy about, having vacation days canceled.
Yeah, Timmy. Of course, the fans always the ones who sacrifice because those doubleheaders would be 7-inning games. I still think they're doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we would get less baseball.
I got a question. Is this bases being bigger thing a done deal, or the no shift? Is that a done deal?
Yeah, baseball, the bases. Why? Again, I don't even understand this stuff. Only baseball could I not understand. And why are having bigger bases an issue by the owners? Why do they not want that?
They don't. The owners don't want it.
Well, the players would want it because it's a safety issue, right?
I thought it was to increase the offense because now those
stolen bases,
razor thin throwouts at first, the guy's going to be on the base instead.
Yeah, it's stolen bases, and it plays at the bag. Basically,
But what group?
Joe, you're in and out. Your audio
would not want that. Why was that not even? Why was that a bargaining chip? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know either, Scotty.
Because to me, I thought it was the main thing was a safety issue. And it's just a no-brainer to do that.
How could a bigger base be a safety issue?
Because what happens is when these guys run to first base, they're colliding with the first baseman.
Oh, so they're separating. They're separating the point of contact on the base a little bit,
and they're stepping on each other's feet and breaking ankles and stuff. And it's much safer if they can run to the outside and not make contact.
So a safety issue, that's good, right? And increase the offense a little bit, which is, in my mind, good.
Also, it creates that stupid crap where all of a sudden someone slides into second base and they may have taken their hand off for a half a second, and then he's out, which is it's not the rule of the law. He beat him there. Now he has more base to grab to.
Yeah, I mean, fractions of an inch, I'm sure here. I don't know how much.
No, the base is it's double.
What?
Yeah, it's double now.
The whole mass of the base will be doubled?
I've seen it, yeah. In fact, first base is it goes into, if I've seen it, it goes into foul ground. First base and third base. Russ, help me here.
Yeah, I think that it's significantly larger, Timmy. And even if they're adding 2 inches to it, 3 inches to it, when you add it all 4 sides, it's a big deal.
Yeah, no, I've seen them. They're much bigger. It's the smart thing to do. What you will have though, in second base and for sure is the ball's hitting the bag more, and all bets are off when it does that.
So it's going from 15 inches to 18 inches.
Yeah, that's a big. If you 4 sides of the bag, I mean, you add 1.5 inches to 4 sides of the bag. The overall size of that bag, it gets really big. It's gonna be like the helmet that Wes Welker wore. It's gonna be like a kazoo bag.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That never caught on.
No.
Do they get it done, boys?
Yeah, it looks like they're getting close enough. I mean, last week there was that flare up, like, oh, they're going to get it done, and then the players just felt like they got taken to the cleaners, and maybe better heads prevailed, and they realized they were committing, suicide as a entertainment entity if they waste a quarter of the season. So
well, they just signed a deal with Apple TV for exclusive rights to Friday night games. They'll have 2 games on every Friday night, and if you don't have Apple TV, you don't watch it, which means there'll be games just like the old time that if you don't have Apple TV, you won't be able to watch the Red Sox.
The radio.
This now decreased my. Joe, we can hear you, but we can't see you now.
Yeah, he stopped my video, but you probably wouldn't watch those games on Apple TV anyways.
But now, we're paying for Nesson. So now the value of our, Joe, you're back. There you go. The value of our Nesson package, the value of what we pay for Nesson now, we're getting less for our money.
Yeah, but there'll be games that you won't be able to watch if you're in the Boston
I don't know. We'll just put it
I
on the
don't watch
radio.
anything that's not the Red Sox anyways.
Put it on the radio and go be old school. Just go back to, when you used to listen to it in the 70s, right?
Or when you didn't have Nesson, you were just watching the scrambled screen.
Yeah, right.
Ken Coleman on the radio.
Well, Timmy and I know a little bit about how to get free sports, so I think we're gonna be all right.
Net, that's all I'll say.
We'll have to share. Oh, good. Thanks for sharing that.
I didn't let it all out of the bag.
We'll have to share that with our good friends Russell and Uncle Joe. I think we'll be okay. All right, look, Heim's going to be very busy. If the cap increases, we'll actually have more money. Does this mean that Kyle Schwarber's coming back?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to kind of reset ourselves and try to remember, what's at stake. There's going to be it's going to be a very interesting couple of days, right? If they come back, this is going to be a feeding frenzy.
Yeah, because I'm sure the GMs weren't just sitting around doing nothing all this time. They were still busy conducting business, trades, free agents, the whole 9 yards. They'll be ready to, let the floodgates open.
Yeah, and Correa's going to the Yankees. I can feel it. It just, it just seems like that's a done deal. Apparently, the rumors are that they've already done the medicals on him.
Could be true.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. They did the medicals right before, the deadline before everything got locked out.
The Yankees must be so starving for a World Series championship at this moment. Do
you think we're in their head? Do you think, the Yankees have always been in our head, and they still are because, Yankee sucks chance just break out every second of the day in this town. But are we?
Bruins games they break out.
Are we in the Yankees' head, guys?
Probably not that much. I think we're now I think they look at us as being, we're in their league, right? There's none of this, who's your daddy, the old championships don't make a difference. I don't know if we're in their head, but I don't think they look down on us. Let's put it that way.
The equivalent of how the Canadians and the Bruins used to be,
Right.
But I think, the Yankees probably think of the Rays and the Blue Jays the same way they think of the Red Sox right now.
Right.
The four competitors, someone's going to be fourth out of all those teams. Let's hope it's not the Sox.
So now, how are the Rays projected to be this year? Are they projected to be good?
They were better than the Red Sox last year.
And they're doing it what? What's their payroll, like $50 million?
Yeah, but Chaim Bloom built that team up with such a remarkable minor league system that, they're always going to have a competitive team. You don't think Brian Cashman at all thinks about how can we beat the Red Sox and makes any moves in that way?
His biggest rival last year seemed to be Toronto.
Yeah.
At least at the trade deadline.
If I'm Brian Cashman, I'm looking at, not necessarily the Red Sox. I'm looking at who at the moment seems to be better than me right now,
Well, Timmy always says it. Joe Kelly belongs in this town. And I think for sure Joe Kelly's coming back. I mean, right?
Good Joe.
Yeah.
And he would really help, actually. They definitely need a Joe Kelly.
What Joe Kelly are we getting? That's always the question. Are we getting the Joe Kelly that drove us crazy, or are we getting the Joe Kelly, the hero in the playoffs? Which one?
Well, he's pitched pretty well.
Over the plate, I hope.
That was a good investment by the Dodgers. We thought that was an overpay, and that was not. He proved out to be quite an asset for them. And
he's got the arm. He certainly got the fireball going there.
All right, Suzuki.
Joe Kelly Fight Club T-shirts are still all over Fenway.
Yeah, right. Suzuki, does he come to the Red Sox, boys?
I think those guys usually end up on the West Coast. I wouldn't bank on it.
Joe?
Bigger Asian population, yeah. They're more comfortable on the West Coast.
Do you think of Seattle or an Angels?
He could be a big celebrity in Boston. He'd just be another guy out there,
Yeah.
I think he'd be, if I'm looking from a marketing standpoint, I wonder if he could make his most money here.
I think he comes here because I think that Chaim Bloom made that Renfroe deal with the belief that Suzuki was coming.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, who's your right fielder?
Yeah, they're kind of stuck if they don't get him.
Yeah, right. I don't even know.
That really solidifies our outfield if he shows up. I mean,
Don't be
that's a
surprised.
nice addition to that team.
Don't be surprised if Bobby Dahlbeck's not playing outfield.
Really?
And they put Cases in first base.
I can see that happening.
Just so you know, I watched the clips of Cases batting practice. The bat looks like a toothpick.
Hmm.
That's how big he is. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It's been a black hole for quite some time now. That whole right side of the infield's been a black hole for quite some time.
How is he defensively, Scott?
I don't know. I mean, again,
First baseman.
Yeah, he's a first baseman. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but there's Dahlbecks at first base, and then there's other first basemen.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think he's all right. Again, if Bobby Dahlbeck can play it, anyone can play it. All right, we go to the Celtics, boys. And now all the talk. They're the in team. They're going to win the championship. Can you believe that anyone is even saying that? But the Celtics look good. They look tight.
Well, the big thing, Scotty, is we had never really seen the whole group together as a group.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now we're seeing what they were hoping for. So is this what they really are? I mean, they're starting to look like maybe this is what they really are.
Do we appreciate Jason Tatum?
I do. I don't. I think there are some people on this in this call that haven't in the past, but I think
that might have been the best game he ever played for.
Well, let's see. What did we say the whole time? He had to mature, right? He had to accept
his game had to mature.
Yeah, he had to accept that, like, buddy, like you're carrying a franchise on your back. You can't go mope in the corner. You can't, just not be the leader. You can't do it if you're going to be the guy. He's only 24 years old, though, so maybe he's growing into that position.
So it was that guy, Russ. It's the guy who just talked. Yeah, he's the one the guy who drove Tuukka Rask out of town. Or was it the guy who drove Sony Michel out?
Yeah. I wasn't going to name any names, but
Scotty, we were both at that game during COVID when they got their doors blown out, and he went and sat by himself and moped for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
That's the guy.
The biggest problem with this game early this year was all the ISO plays, and he was throwing it up too quick. Now he's getting everyone else involved the way he should be. And that's creating a lot more open shots for him. His shooting percentage early in the year was the worst of his career. He was one of the worst in the whole league. But now you see his shooting percentage coming up because now he's getting better shots, he's better ball movement.
He's going to the basket more too, right?
Yeah, getting more foul shots too.
Yeah, he was being lazy. He was just taking that ISO 3. When he shouldn't have been. He should have been going to the hole more, and that's what he's starting to do.
Is it because we've been brought up with the Boston Celtics and they didn't have big scorers? I mean, they've never had a player lead the league in scoring in their history. Is it that we're not impressed with the guys who put up 50 plus, that we're not going goo and gaga?
Well, look, the game's different. I find this whole thing about, Jason Tatum scored 50 points 5 times and before he was 25, and Larry Bird did it 4 times in his career. It's a different game. I mean, these guys are jacking up 200 3-pointers a year. It's just fundamentally a different game. So I don't put much stock in that, but I do put stock in. I think a lot of things happened to change how he's played and how the team's played. It took him a while to get used to Ime's system. They all needed to get healthy. Marcus Smart started playing better, right? And I think he matured, and I think he realized that he was a force. If he could be sort of a 3-level player and be able to pass the ball out of double teams and not be a hero, his team would be better off and he would get more respect in the NBA. And lo and behold, he's going to make an all-NBA team this year because he did that.
Right, absolutely. And now he's kind of separated himself from Jaylen Brown.
I think that's maturity, guys. Do you think that's just maturity, him growing up?
He's 24. Like, he's not even in his prime. The thing about Jason Tatum is athletically, he's still a year or two from his prime.
Oh,
I give the coach a little credit too on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Delineating each one's roles, getting Marcus Smart to play point guard and point guard only.
Remember,
not off the ball.
Larry Bird played 4 years of college basketball, then came into the NBA.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum played a half a year of college basketball, 2/3 because he was hurt, then came into the NBA as a
Bird was
teenager.
just about this age when he came into the NBA, right?
He was 23.
Yeah, a year
One
away.
year older. Yeah.
Right. So is it any
1 year
surprise
younger.
Larry Bird came into the NBA as more of a finished product than Jason Tatum? It's no surprise.
Yeah, yeah, right. But Jaylen Brown,
Yeah, Scotty, you ask a great question. Brown has been really good in 2022. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he was just named by the Ringer as one of the top 25 players in the NBA. And still, doesn't it feel like Tatum is now the number one guy and Brown's the number two guy and Brown knows he's the number two guy?
oh, absolutely.
That and I think we're used to Jalen making big increases in his game from year to year. Doesn't seem like he's made the big step from last year to this year. It's more a baby step this year.
I think, like Russ talks about all the time, the thing about Jaylen Brown is, and look, Jason Tatum is very durable. I mean, this guy shows up every game.
Yeah.
And Jaylen Brown always seems to have those little injuries, always seems to go down once every 5 games. Until he plays consistently, I wouldn't put him in the top 25 level, player level, not even close. The guy's got to show up.
Statistically, though, he shows up good because he's a good plus defensive player, and his shooting percentages are very good.
They talk about Brad Stevens hitting a lot of singles and doubles. I would say maybe some triples and homers when you look back now at the long-term deals he gave Rob Williams, who looks like a steal at this point.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And now Marcus Smart is a good deal. We even said it was a good deal because you can trade it now, and all of a sudden in this offseason, at the very least, Marcus' value has increased.
As depressing as it felt in December when not only were they losing, but the young guys weren't getting any time. So they weren't building the asset value of these guys. It completely flipped around.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like that Williams contract is going to be one of the best contracts in the NBA. Smart's contract's dealable. They got rid of the other 2 guys, Schroeder and Richardson. Pritchard's getting time now.
Yeah.
Right? White is signed for 3 more years.
Yeah.
And Williams is coming up, but he's getting a lot more time this year.
Yeah. And Tice just looks, I know Tice, you're a big fan of Tice, Timmy, and he just looks right in a Celtics uniform. He looks like he belongs there.
Yeah, he does feel like a Celtic.
Plays hard. Al Horford.
But hold on, going back a little bit. When we got rid of Tice, that opened up a lot of room for Williams to get some time. So it's kind of like we put him on the shelf for a while, let Rob mature and get his time, and then now Tice can come back as an accessory to it.
Yeah.
So that was a nice move.
Udoka's going to earn his money in the playoffs, and how he balances Al Horford's minutes,
Yeah.
the most out of him possible. It's going to be a balancing act, and I think that's probably the most important thing moving into the playoffs is Al Horford.
I think you're exactly right, Scotty. The other guys are playing big minutes, but they're young, right? And what we've seen, Al has been very much better in his 3-point shooting over the last few weeks. I think he's shooting close to 40% from 3 over like the last 10 or 15 games. That's a game changer on offense. Yeah. And if you can keep him out there and he's looking spry, that's a game changer for this team.
The hard thing going forward, though, it's a tough league, boy. There's a lot of there's no super team. There's no Golden State, when they're in their prime right now. Philly's going to be a tough out, I don't know about New Jersey right now. That was a heck of a game the other day.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, they're a tough out. There's some tough outs out there.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, we're getting close to being able to have a conversation about who would you rather play in the playoffs, right?
It's not going to be, though. It's not going to be that last playoff series where we get into was a fait accompli. before we even started against Brooklyn. You know,
Oh no,
that's not happening now. You know,
no,
we were at
not
a point
at all.
for a long time where we knew, like, you know, we would go until we hit this, and then it was over. You know,
Right.
that's not the case right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, I lost the pool that Timmy would speak French in this show.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What was the over under?
I had him speaking Croatian at one point. It was a
Yeah.
long shot. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, look, it's going to be really interesting because you have, here's the problem with getting the 1 or 2 seed this year is that you may end up playing the Nets in the first round, and the Nets with Kyrie and Simmons back. So you're going to be looking at honestly, I think the best spot for the Celtics is going to be probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You're likely to play Chicago in that first round.
The way it is now, right now. Yeah.
The big question was, does
Chicago
Tatum,
without Caruso and Ball's back?
does Tatum get 54 if Simmons was in that game? That was the big question after the game.
No, he's not getting 54. No.
But I'll tell you something, a series with Brooklyn would be fun. Oh, that would be fun.
I don't want that.
I
You
would
don't
just
want
hate
that in
to
the first round.
I would hate to lose that. That would suck major.
Where does Kevin Durant, does the world not appreciate Kevin Durant and how good he is?
Look, Kevin Durant, you can make a good argument. He's one of the top 10 players in NBA history, top 12.
Oh, offensively, absolutely.
Best scorer I've ever seen.
Unstoppable. I mean, he's maybe the most unstoppable offensive player I've ever seen. When he wants to score and he's got it going, he's unstoppable. I mean, a 7-foot guy shooting threes, you know, from deep.
Oh, he's so athletic. I don't know if I've ever seen.
All right, so, but let me ask you guys a question. Who would you, let's just say they get a Chicago or a Cleveland in the first round and they win that. Who would you rather play in the second round, Miami, Philly, or Milwaukee?
Miami.
Philly for me.
Yeah. Timmy?
Philly scares me right now. I mean,
yeah,
they do.
I think we may have an answer. You know, now that we have 3 big men to kind of beat up on Embiid, and I think we can throw a couple Smart and White against Harden.
Yeah.
You know, keep the defensive pressure on those guys.
Harden scares me, though. Harden can create his own shot anytime he wants. Anytime he wants.
Russell?
I'm with Scotty. I would take Miami mainly because, you know, Philly and Milwaukee have these unicorns. They've got an Embiid and Giannis, right? And Miami's really good, but they don't have a unicorn, you know, Lowry and Bam and Jimmy Butler. And, you know, you could imagine Rob Williams on Adebayo. You can imagine Brown or Tatum on Butler, and you can imagine Smart and Lowry. Play them man up and play the other guy off of Tyler Hero, right?
Yeah, we have no answer for Embiid. We have no answer for Harden. I mean, nobody has any answer for Harden. He does his own thing out there.
And those guys are going to take 40 free throws a game between the two of them. It's going to be the worst series you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, be pulling teeth for sure.
Oh, my God. No, thank you.
The only factor that I like is that Doc Rivers is the other coach.
Good point. That's a good point.
I think
He'll even beat him with 4 fouls in the first half.
Yeah.
I think New Jersey went down a major notch losing Harden. I mean, they were a 3-headed monster with Harden. I mean,
it always seemed like there's only one basketball, Timmy. It always seemed like those 3 could not get to, stay together for too long.
But Harden scares the crap out of me when he gets rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not a Harden fan. I hate watching him play basketball.
I
don't like the game, but he's effective. You know,
the ball into the floor and then making a shot.
Yeah, it's no fun, right, boys? All right, well, we got to root. Look, but I think we can all agree we want Chicago in the first round, right?
Or Cleveland, Chicago or Cleveland, one of those two.
Absolutely.
It's going to be very interesting, boys, at the end of the season. And the NBA does not want this, but there are going to be teams that are going to be throwing games to get into the right position playoff-wise. That's, as Timmy would say, that is a fait accompli.
Who does Vegas have as the favorite right now to win the whole thing?
Magic Golden State, right?
No, Phoenix. Honestly, there were odds today. There are 2 systems that actually give the Celtics the highest percentage chance of winning.
Yeah, 538 does.
538.
A lot of it's statistical.
You gotta be kidding. Oh my God. No,
I swear.
The stat sites love the Celtics.
The Joe's right. The nerds love the Celtics. And the only way I think the reason for it is their models favor point differential, right? And net rating. And the Celtics just blew out every team in January and February, crappy teams. So they have the best point differential in the NBA.
I knew they had in the Eastern Conference. Now the NBA?
The NBA.
Well, in the Eastern Conference might have 4 of the 5 best teams in the NBA. Yeah. And they probably do. Maybe you throw Phoenix in there somewhere. But the other 4 are all Eastern Conference.
Yeah, switching subjects a little bit. Do you see the Lakers as a threat at all?
No.
They're done.
They're done. Oh my God.
You don't think LeBron can turn it on and
No.
He can do it for 1 game or 2 games. He can't do it for 7.
he had that 1 or 2 good games, and ESPN was like, Jesus has risen from the grave again. You know,
can't do it every night.
Okay, so when we win the NBA Finals, who gets the most credit? Brad Stevens or Ime Udoka?
I gotta give Udoka, but Brad Stevens, I can't think of one move he's made since becoming president that I have disliked, or I think he got wrong.
That from Uncle Joe McLaughlin.
I know.
It is. That's high praise.
I know, right?
I really can't think of one of those moves he's made that was bad.
You sure his mic's working?
Yeah.
Like that coffee cup. What's that?
This is a guy who won't even let Dwight Evans have his number retired. I mean,
no.
I see.
Not Hall of Fame.
He continues it. All right, Russell. Who gets the more credit?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those 55% Ime and 45% Brad, just because the core of the team was there for Brad, and Ime had to implement an entirely new defensive system and offensive system this year. And it took 40 games, but it finally took.
Timmy.
Ime did what we were begging Brad to do. Get control of Marcus Smart. Get control of Jason Tatum. Those are the 2 big things. Like Smart passed the ball at the end of the game. I don't know. If Ime out there, does he take that shot instead of handing it off? For that game winner?
I thought that play with Tatum dishing it to Marcus not taking the shot and throwing it to Jalen.
Okay. So before Ime,
Jalen not taking and Jason not taking.
Uncle Joe, exactly right. Last year Tatum tries to take that shot. Smart takes the shot.
Yep.
And both of them did what they were supposed to do this time.
And Brown doesn't hit the shot. or doesn't get off in 24 seconds.
So I
don't think Brad was able to get through to them to do that. Now, give Brad credit for making some moves that Joe talked about,
I think Brad's message had gotten stale, and it was time for him to either move on or move up.
I think Brad admitted that. Yeah.
Well, I got Udoka. I absolutely. I think. I know this is crazy. I wish they'd stop wearing their gym uniforms as coaches. I don't think that. I think Udoka would look really nice in a suit. It'd look a lot more impressive.
Oh, I like it. I think
Casey Jones.
And they all look like high school coaches to me.
No, I like it. I think it's cool.
I don't like it at all. I think Udoka deserves our respect right now. He is the kind of, if he was the manager of the Red Sox, we'd be going crazy right now. If he was the head coach of the Patriots, we'd be crazy right now. And he deserves the same respect as we would in those kind of young coaches. Again, we talked about it last week. Other than that old fart in Foxborough, we have a nice core of head coaches and managers.
Jury out until the playoffs, though.
I just can't.
There we go.
I just can't wait to see Stevie comes in.
Age discrimination coming out here. Go ahead,
Scott. Stephen B. At the very least,
we have a large senior viewing audience here.
Yeah,
it's true. All right. Well, we are all old too, Timmy, so we can talk. All right, we go to football. I just can't wait to the NFL draft, guys. But we have to first talk about the Russell Wilson deal. Wow.
Yeah, right. Joe, what did you think of that one?
I think Denver gave up too much to keep themselves into contention. Gave up 2.5 starters along with the premium draft picks. I know they still have good draft picks this year. They still got a second, 2/3, and a fourth, and a fifth, and so on and so forth. But giving up their starting tight end, giving up their starting defensive end, and a captain to boot, and giving up the quarterback, who knows, what. But I think they gave up a little too much to remain in contention in that AFC West.
Yeah,
even with Russell Wilson.
Russ,
two things. One is I don't think Russell Wilson was particularly good last year, and a big question about Russell Wilson is he more like one of these quarterbacks that lasted forever, like Breeze and Brady, Rivers, or is he more like one of the mobile quarterbacks who, by the time they hit early 30s, mid 30s, they've taken a beating, like Ben Roethlisberger went off the cliff because he'd run so much. And if it's the latter, and he didn't play well last year, are you getting Russell Wilson on the downside of his career?
And he's a small guy too, remember.
And he hasn't been exactly lighting the world up. And they gave up 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, a 5th rounder, Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, and Noah Fant. Noah Fant, was he a first-round pick?
Yeah,
tight end, yeah.
Good tight end, yeah. But you understand, Denver, they had to go for it. You have to go for it when you have an opportunity to get a top quarterback like that. Timmy, did you like the deal?
Like you said, are they selling out for this year? Like if it doesn't happen in the next year or two, they're gonna dread this trade for the next 5 or 6 years to come. I mean, God knows the talent they're giving up in the draft. You have a that's a 2 firsts, 2 seconds. I mean, that's a lot of football players right there. And Noah Fant, who was a first-round pick. I mean, that's a lot to give up. That's like I don't know how close it is to the Dallas trade that brought Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith in eventually, to build the dynasty. But that could be what you're talking about down the line.
Well, it's a good deal for the Seahawks. That's for sure.
He might not be able to replace Russell Wilson with even all that talent, but Denver is a quarterback-driven market. They always had Elway, then it was Peyton Manning. Now it's going to be Russell Wilson. Got to have a glamour boy there to sell tickets.
Now, how old is Wilson right now?
33.
Yeah.
So what?
But also, again, with football, as we know,
right? He's an old
the salary cap ramifications of having a guy like Russell Wilson.
What injuries? Didn't he have a kind of a serious injury recently?
No, not really. He started out last year. The first 8 games, everyone was talking MVP. And then he had a little some problems and finished up, lame duck session.
Look, it's a copycat league, as we all know. The LA Rams basically have followed a model the last 3 years. They've traded every first-round draft pick they could and gone for it every year. I think teams, that's absolutely what Denver just did.
Yeah, right. Would you trade Mac Jones for Russell Wilson?
Nope.
Timmy?
For the reasons Russ stated earlier. He's getting older and he's probably on the back 9.
I'd say he has 2-3 years left in his career. So no.
All right, wow.
He's always been the most sacked quarterback in the league. So he's taking his hits over that time too.
I agree with all three, which is really remarkable how far we've gone. He wasn't even on the team a year ago.
Well, no, I think the thing that we saw was that Mac Jones is probably never going to be a top 3 or 5 quarterback in the league, but we looked at a guy who could be a top 10 quarterback, and you've got 4 years of control over the guy. Fine. I
think you got the rest of his career in control. Nobody's they're not going to let Mac Jones ever walk.
Right, but for fair salary. My point is that you got him for years at a good salary. So
he was the 15th pick in the draft, and that means a lot. I mean, to be
that's 5 years of control, 4 more years.
Top 5 quarterbacks, what, 40-50 million a year now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rodgers reportedly signed a 4-year, $200 million contract.
That doesn't leave a lot to spread around to the rest of the team.
And Timmy, imagine if your $50 million quarterback gets injured for 9 games.
Oh.
What's left around him and on your team?
And you know what? What's the probability? I'd love to see the Vegas probability on a quarterback getting hurt, for 5 games. It's probably 40%, maybe.
Especially Rodgers, who's 38 years old?
Yeah, he's remarkably durable. All the great ones are. They have a knack of staying out of trouble.
That's for sure. So much.
I don't know. Do I remember Wilson kind of being on the shelf more than average?
No.
No?
He's probably played 90%.
Pretty durable.
90%.
So if you're the Texans, you got to be happy now, right? Has this increased Watson's value? Got it, right?
Watson's value probably has nothing to do with Russell Wilson and everything to do with the
court cases.
Yeah.
But Texans is asking for a lot.
People would be yelling and screaming about Watson coming to their town until Sundays, right? And then they'd be jumping for joy that he's their quarterback.
If he can play, even if the court system lets him walk with just financial compensation to all these people, Goodell's going to have to step in and throw him a year's suspension.
Well, come on, Joe. He didn't deflate any footballs. What the hell?
Yeah, I just would say that in 2022, welcoming, a guy with that background into your community for an owner and a franchise is going to be very, very hard to do.
Russell, as we know, NFL fans are very forgiving.
Yeah, I know, but these owners, I don't know. You're probably right, Timmy. I wouldn't do it.
I mean, if they had let Aaron Hernandez out on Sundays with an ankle bracelet to play for the Patriots.
When he was already one of ours.
So would you trade Mac Jones for Deshaun Watson right now?
I would.
If he was cleared of all things?
No, he's not going to be cleared. I'm just saying tomorrow, whether he's cleared or not.
No. Right. No. But if he was cleared of everything, I would take
because of a looming 1-year suspension, Russell, or because if he gets off scot-free.
Honestly, Timmy, I think both. I think there's a point in which you just say, look, if he got cleared, and this turned out to be the courts found him in a civil court, which is a much much higher bar. If he got cleared, then you give a guy, he got cleared. But if he doesn't get cleared and there's some payoff, I don't want that guy anywhere close. I just don't.
Yeah, he's already pleading the fifth in his depositions. So, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Well, how many girls are there? Like 100?
Like 22, is it?
It might as well be 100. Yeah. I mean, problem is he doesn't have enough checks to write. He can't write that many checks.
No.
That's
one of them to say no. I want.
How about you, Scotty? Would you trade him straight? Would you trade him?
If the situation being what it is currently, no, I would stay away from that because it hurts the whole franchise. And you need to know your quarterback's going to show up on not only Sunday but Monday to review everything and get ready for the next week.
Just after a massage,
Anyway, there's going to be a picket line at any stadium he's at.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd stay away from that. But we know the NFL, like Timmy says, they don't care. I mean, they're organized crime. That's the last thing they care about.
How many guys have we seen kick girls and do this and do that, and they're playing on Sunday?
Ray Lewis, killing 2 people and then ends up on the cover of Madden like a year or 2 later, and they build a statue of him at the stadium.
That was kicking the girl in the hallway last year.
Oh, no, Ray. Oh, no. Yeah, right. The running back who was on the Browns, right?
Right back in action.
Yeah, right. Just kicking her right across the hallway. Yeah.
Who was the guy that knocked his girlfriend out, right?
Ray Rice. The other day, right? Yeah. And then he came back to play. Yeah. I mean, that didn't end his career. Joe, tell us about the combine. We know you watch. Of the positional needs, and there are many, if you had to pick one player that you saw this week, realistically at 21, who would that be?
I know.
Jordan Davis.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that.
But I don't think he's going to we're not going to sniff him 21. So we'll probably get one of the guys that played behind in the linebackers.
And
There's a couple of linebackers.
You know, I like the
We can use
name.
them.
Joe McLaughlin was slathering himself up in oil when Jordan Davis ran a 4.68 40.
I know. At 360 pounds.
360 pounds, and he runs a 4.68. And Joe McLaughlin was going for the oil.
Did you see him? He also had more than a 10-foot broad jump. That's explosion.
Oh, Jesus.
More than 10 foot.
Get out the hose.
Joe, man, you just start. You need to quit smoking after that.
That Belichick would kill. If he has an opportunity, he will move up to him.
Oh, wow. So no, I didn't hear. What linebacker did you like?
There's a lot, but I think, you know what? I bet you they pick up a linebacker or two in free agency now before the draft. In fact, they'll probably get one of the kind of guys you like, the tackling machine, middle linebackers.
Yeah.
There's one kid, the kid that played next to Micah Parsons that did the dirty work in Dallas. And there's another kid in Denver, that middle linebacker that's a tackling machine. He ended his season last year with like a torn bicep, tricep. You know, nothing that's debilitating. And I could see them adding one of those guys, both way better than Hightower and Bentley, and then going into the draft looking for depth behind it.
All right, two players. I'm glad you reminded me. Two players that'd be interesting in that just got cut. Wagner, Bobby Wagner from Seattle, who during the Patriots Super Bowl was just a tackling machine. That guy just throws guys around like nothing. He's been put on waivers. Could we get him on the cheaps?
My guess is someone's going to pay him some money. And you're going to have to, you need salary space. They have no salary space right now.
Well, they can make that. They're one of the top teams with salary as far as the salary cap is concerned. They're in the top third.
Getting rid of Vanoy gave them what, $7 million right now?
Yeah, they cut Vanoy. Not a surprise, boys, right?
I like him, but not a surprise.
He stunk last year, though. He had that one good game against Atlanta.
So is Hightower next?
I think Hightower retires.
He says he wants to play again. Him,
God, he's gonna.
McCourty are on record and saying they'd like to play.
What do we get on the cap if he goes, Joe?
Excuse me?
What do we get on the cap if they cut him?
Nothing. He's a free agent.
They're free agents, yeah, every one of them.
So Scotty's going to predict Hightower is going to retire until he gets it right eventually. I can guarantee you he'll get it right eventually.
Well, I love Hightower so much, and I really do, and I don't want to see the guy out there and just not being able to play at all. And he's had such a storied career here. I'd like to see him end as a Patriot.
Yeah, he's no longer a playmaker. That much, he holds his own out there, but he's not making any plays for you either.
Yeah. And then Amari Cooper. Do you have any shot?
Too much money.
Yeah, he's just a dog. He just underwhelms everywhere he goes. He's one of those guys who's got a big name and blah, 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 and he just doesn't produce.
I can't tell you how many times I picked him on my fantasy team and he did nothing.
Doesn't produce.
Oh, I thought he did pretty well with Dallas.
He did well with him, but then when C.D. Lamb came, C.D. Lamb was much better.
No, they can do better than that.
Not the little Alabama connection with Mac Jones and Amari Cooper. Come on, guys.
Amari Cooper's old enough to be Mac Jones' father, for God's sake.
You see the bad news this week, though. If the Patriots exercise the option on N'Keal Harry, he gets $12.5 million.
Why would they ever do that, though? They're never going to do that.
They're not going to. But because this year, he still plays for like $2-3 million.
I would not be shocked to see them do it.
Not doing that.
How's he still in this team?
No, I think
if Belichick did. I don't know why. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Because they don't have anything better.
No, they're cutting him. That's ridiculous. I don't know why.
They're never going to pay him. They're never going to pick up the option. They didn't pick up the option on Sony. They're not going to pick it up on him.
And he'll go somewhere in the style.
Why is he? Why is
He'll
he still on the team?
go somewhere and be a superstar. Watch.
No.
He won't.
Just like James Young is being a superstar in his backyard. Yeah, why is he? Then no, really, I need an investigation. Why is he still on the team?
I don't know.
They don't have anything bad.
You telling me there isn't some guy out there that could be doing better than him right now? I don't know why.
Probably is, but they don't have him under contract.
There's no way like Arizona's going to give him a 7th round pick. Can't they do that?
Sure, they could trade him to some other team who also has a undervalued asset or a distressed asset.
And Arizona's you really know what you're talking about there, because Arizona, he went to Arizona State, was it?
Yeah.
Arizona has a kid from UMass that they drafted. What, in the 2nd round, was it?
Isabella.
Yeah. And they drafted in the 2nd round, and he's been a skip for them. They can make an exchange. Local boys go home,
Oh my God, the perfect exchange. Why don't they do that right now?
Yeah.
Do I need to
It
sign?
sounds like marriage made in heaven.
Well, can the kid from UMass block, though, Joe? That's the question.
You'll learn to block if he comes here.
So how about that punter? What is it? What is his name? Arizia or something? He's supposed to be this extraordinary punter. It just feels like Bill Belichick's going to carry 2 good punters.
Don't say that too loud, Scotty. Use our 2nd round pick on the friggin' punter.
He always uses the 5th round for a special teams guy.
I'm going to bet you he drafts that guy and tries to trade Bailey or something. He loves punters. And wait, is that guy a lefty? I think he's lefty, right?
I can't remember. I saw him punt the other night. 80 yards. 80. It was 65. It was 80 yards in the air if you include where he was punting from. And
then he also ran like a 4.5 or something.
Trust me, Bailey has a big salary cap number right now. Didn't have a great year. Don't screw around. Don't take this kid in the 4th round. I'm not even kidding.
I'm not joking. I know. It feels like it, right?
Yeah.
That's a big leg.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. I thought Bailey was really just non-existent this year. He didn't.
It's fine.
It wasn't one special punt the whole season.
They were snapping from the 20. He was kicking from the 10. And it landed on like the 12-yard line and bounced to the end zone.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's something.
Yeah, we don't want to talk too much about a punter, because if we're talking a lot about a punter during the season, we really suck.
We did. They did suck.
Yeah, stay away.
We saw those last 4 games. They were terrible. All 4 of them.
No, I had mentioned in our text thread, I feel like because we only have 6 picks, I feel like Bill's going to try to trade some players currently on the roster to get some picks. What do you think of that?
I'm hoping he gets 2 seconds for that 21st pick. That's kind of what I'm hoping.
But you to see that any players, I think some players could go.
Yeah, I mean, who do they have though that could get you more than like a 4th or 5th rounder or a 6th round? Like they trade Winovich. What are they going to get, a 6th rounder?
7th rounder, yeah. You're not getting anything. They won't give you anything on draft day for anyone anyway.
Unless you see someone that you think you could grab in the 4th or the 5th that might slip through. They might have their eyes on some hidden gems. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
Does Wynn or Mason go?
I'll leave that to the offensive line expert.
I wouldn't think so. They don't have any depth in those areas. Even the interior offensive line isn't deep. And like guys like Karras that played every position, he's a free agent. You probably get money.
Well, rumors of trades for wide receivers. Big name this week was Robbie Anderson. Joe, you like him a lot, right?
I loved him. I thought he was the one shining thing on the Jets team. I just think he's been with bad teams. He's been with the Jets with no quarterbacks, and he was with Carolina the last couple of years with no quarterback. I mean, Cam Newton throwing him the ball to a deep guy. It's not happening.
I think there's going to be trades.
I now believe, because of the J.C. Jackson thing, I'm guessing he's going to take a cornerback in the 1st round.
Oh, the mock drafts have that happening.
I mean, they're going to need I mean, No,
need
come on,
quality.
no.
They got a lot of numbers, but they don't have any talent really.
We can't draft
Can we
cornerbacks
talk
to save our lives. Come on.
J.C. Jackson for a second here? We're not going to sign him.
No, he's done. We didn't tender him.
they can sign.
He wants big time money, and most of the league doesn't consider him the big time money guy.
What do they just think he was in the right place at the right time this year? I mean,
The
No,
Texans.
he's a ball hawk, not a cover guy. He can't cover on his own.
He'll go to the Texans. I've not heard any rumors. He'll go to the Texans. We'll never hear from him again.
well, he seemed like he had a great season too. I mean, I don't know if he was. It was the luck of the draw, but he's had a couple of good seasons in a row. I mean, is that luck or is that talent?
I don't know. All right, we go to the Bruins. When's the trading deadline? Next week, Jimmy?
I don't know.
I think it's coming up close. What do we do?
Coming back.
We need a left shot defenseman.
Right.
We need a very good left shot defenseman.
Oh, I'd love someone to just pair with McAvoy that was on his level.
Yeah. I mean, I do see some hope with this team, though. They lost to the Kings on that Charlie Coyle debacle.
3 times in the last week they gave up the tying goal in the last minute.
I was at that game.
3
The Bruins are all over the Kings that game. They just couldn't finish. But I do see some hope. Some people that are not named Pasternak, Marchand, or Bergeron are putting the puck in the net. That is hope. I mean, Hall is not one of those names, unfortunately. But, Smith is starting to score. DeBrusque is starting to come out of his shell now. It helps when you're on a line with Bergeron and Pasternak, obviously. But, I mean, if these guys can keep putting the puck in the net, other than the 3 guys that always do, I do see some hope for this team.
Yeah, DeBrusque, Russ. Do we keep him?
Yeah, but then I just don't want to see them misuse an asset, right? Like you gotta take advantage of the fact that he's hot. So if I just don't want them to piss away a good asset or a good player. So if you think that because he's got a big contract next year, they're not going to re-sign him they're not going to pick up his option at $4.5 million next year. No. That seems insane to me.
I mean, listening to the Bruins commentators, it seems like I will use the word again, a fait accompli, that he's gone.
Oh my God, Jim.
Twice. The over-under, I just shattered the over-under.
You would think so. I mean, this is what Don Sweeney wanted. If he said Jake DeBrusque will increase in value near the deadline, isn't this what you would want? And then
showcase. Can we get a center? After someone to pair with McAvoy, not a second line center. Hall is doing the job right now, but I'd like something better. And going forward, Bergeron might not be here next year.
That's the question of the decade, right there.
But in the last few years, when has there been a prospect that's actually developed in this Bruin system?
True. We've seen.
I'm saying in the last few years, McAvoy's been around for a while now.
The Bruins do have a history of giving away good players that they just want to get rid of for a bag of pucks, and I just hope they don't do it again.
I mean, Swayman would be the most recent, right? I mean, obviously, goaltender is pretty important position.
McAvoy's been around for a while, but he's homegrown.
Is Swayman here? Is he the number one for the next?
Absolutely. He's considered maybe one of the best goaltenders in the NHL at this point right now.
Oh, you think
Cassidy has named him as the number one. He's going to get 2/3 of the stats for the rest of the season.
He's the goalie.
He's the real deal.
He's the goalie.
So how long before Colin Hoey drives Swayman out of town? I mean, the Hoey family has a history of that. Can you just lay off him, the whole Hoey family?
I was on Rask's side once he earned my appreciation.
No, you weren't.
After he was basically out of the league.
You're going to need to sell that somewhere else, just like you sell all that salt, Timmy.
It's snowing out. I'm looking out the window. I see snow.
Russ, trolling Timmy.
Get your orders in. Supplies are low. Get your orders in.
We have to end in Russ trolling Timmy. Oh my God, I didn't have that either. Oh my God, I'm going to be broke after this show. All right, boys, well, that's our show for tonight. I want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Ian, thank you very much. want to thank
Thank
the
you,
boys.
Ian.
Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.